makes it even more precise, because you already know this. If you studied Arabic, you understand that Arabic builds upon it builds on each the verses build on each other.
That's
right?
every language.
Not necessarily.
Definitely.
Don't make such claims. That's absurd. Every language that has ever existed behaves like Arabic. That's
the structure of all languages.
That's not completely true.
If I said like I'm going to the hospital today, right? I'm going to the hospital builds on today.
And you know, for the sake of this argument, I'll agree with you, just to, because you're actually supporting my claim, so I'll agree with you.
Glad you brought it up.
So you're actually supporting my claim.
You're going in a different
I'll
direction.
agree with you, even though you're wrong. I will agree with you for the sake of this argument.
All right, fair enough. You agree with me. But I'm saying is this,
but let me finish real fast. So you refuse.
Well, you're going in a different
let me finish
direction
real fast. I'm almost done. I swear. 10 more seconds.
Go ahead.
So you refuse to acknowledge the previous verse and the verse that comes after it, and you don't even mention them, and then you make your claim about how the verse was about in totality, right? And then when I mention the verse that comes after it, that makes the previous verse that you were mentioning how it was in totality, which makes it more precise and actually builds onto it. That's when you completely change your argument, and you change your argument, and you move on to the next argument. Just like that's your argumentative style, right? When you lose an argument, you change your words, you move on to the next one, and you criticize the next argument that I bring against you, right? Because you're not intellectually honest.
So here's what I'm saying. First off, I don't agree with anything you just said, actually.
You actually agreed with me yesterday in front of everyone.
Not yesterday.
You did. Everyone heard you.
No. Hold on a second. What was happening in the conversation yesterday was this. I said A, you said B. I said C, you repeated B. And I said, no, C. And you repeated B again and again. And that happens in a cycle. No, listen, I don't want to rehash that argument. Listen. For the sake of the argument, I'll even say you won, right? Let's just, even though you did not win the argument.
It's clear I won.
Hold on a second.
You're not intellectually honest.
For the sake of the argument, I think you're not consistent. But listen, let's suppose I said you won the argument, right? You win.
No, I'm not consistent.
Here's my question for you. No, I don't think you're right at all. But listen, hold on. Now let me speak. Go
ahead. Okay.
Now, I pasted a link in the chat room, right? I said 53, verse number 7. Right? Just click on that link and tell me what does that refer to. You can read it before or after, it doesn't matter. Tell me who does that refer to. And I'll read it in English.
Which
so
chat
the rest of the room can understand. While he was in the higher part of the, or rather, excuse me.
Which chat room was it posted in?
I didn't know. Oh, I posted in the wrong room. Excuse me. Paste. I posted in member pictures.
All right, give me a second. I'm pulling it up.
Sure.
All right, go ahead.
And I think I might even have pasted the wrong verse.
While he was in the higher part of the horizon, we already addressed this. This is in reference to God.
Excuse me. No. I posted the wrong. That was the wrong verse I posted. Excuse me. Go to the very beginning of the chapter.
No problem. Okay. I'm in the beginning.
Okay. Now, did you say yesterday this was a reference to Angel Gabriel?
I never did. I said it was a reference. I just told you it was a reference to God, the one you just posted. Is it the one that you just posted now? 1 second. Okay. So now I'm at the one that you posted.
That he rose of his true form.
Let's be more specific. Which one? What are you talking about?
Sorry. Yeah, I posted the wrong verse initially. Verse number 6.
Okay, the wrong. So the second verse.
Sorry.
And what do you want me to? What do you want me to look at?
Did you not say yesterday that this was a reference to Angel Gabriel?
Where?
Verse number 6. Of the soundness, and he rose to his true form. Unless you say that God rose to his true form, in which case I would question if you're into philosophy for real.
Taught to him by one intense and strength, that is reference to God, one of soundness, and he rose to his true form. That references Gabriel. The taught to him by one intense and strength, that references God, one of soundness, and he rose to his true form. That is referencing, yes, the angel Gabriel.
What's your proof of that?
Well, the proof is easy, because taught to him by one intense and strength, God would never ever reference the angel Gabriel as the one intense in strength, especially in Arabic.
I mean,
you would be saying that the angel Gabriel is in a higher status than God.
Well, I mean, I don't know that I would agree with intense in strength as opposed to like the strength. But what I'm saying is, forget the intensive strength part. How do you know that it's angel Gabriel?
علمه شديد القوة.
Yeah.
Right?
Shadid al-Quwa is not the same as al-Quwa. Those are two different things. But listen, that's a separate topic.
Al-Quwa means strength, power.
Listen.
It has one definition. It doesn't have one definition.
Stay on topic. I'm saying that, how do you know that the second part of the verse refers to the angel Gabriel?
Because he rose to his true form. God would never rise to his true form in front of Prophet Muhammad. That would go against what God believes in.
Because that could have been another prophet, that could have been another person, that could have been another angel, that could have been anything. How do you know it's the angel Gabriel specifically?
Well, because you read the next verse, while he was in the higher part of his horizon.
But that could be anybody.
You read the next verse. No, that can't be anybody. So you're telling me a human can be in the higher part of the horizon?
Well, if they were elevated, what does that mean? State, sure.
Tell me.
But listen, it could be another angel though. It could be any. It could be
okay. It can be any angel. What's your argument here? Even if it isn't.
But why do you say though that it's the angel Gabriel definitively?
Because if you continue reading the ayah, you know it's the angel Gabriel because the revelation is mentioned. And then he revealed to his servant what he revealed. We know that the angel Gabriel is the one that revealed to Prophet Muhammad the revelations.
Based on what?
Based on this ayah, you continue reading. If you continue, but if you continue reading, it says, and he revealed to his servant what he revealed.
Listen, it could be Mikael, Israfil, it could be any of these angels, right? You have narrowed it down to angel Gabriel. Now, I want you to answer to me, why do you say angel Gabriel full stop definitively? Because right now,
so you're telling, wait, 1 second. So you're telling me there's other angels that basically revealed revelations to.
Well, you tell me.
I'm asking you the question. Well, you're the one making the claim.
No, listen. I'm going to make the claim. I'm going to answer that question.
I'm being more precise. I'm answering your question, so you answer mine. So you're telling me there's other.
The reason why? No. You cannot take my answer because my answer is based on hadith.
What's the difference? Which angel?
And I'll get there, JJ. It's to illustrate a point.
I already know what he's trying to get to. He's trying to make it he's going back to the whole totality argument. And he's trying to basically say that you can't be precise in the Quran. That's why you need the hadith. That's
I'm not saying precise. Of his precise in the Quran. I'm not saying
that's what you're trying to get.
What I'm saying
I know what you're trying to get.
A lot of your beliefs that you hold right now. I don't think you're Muslim actually, but a lot of the positions that you hold. I mean, you told me that, so that kind of by ipso facto. But a lot of the views.
He's Muslim. I've heard him in a lot of different services.
I mean, some of the stuff he told me he wasn't Muslim, so I don't.
Oh wait, Miso, are you?
Yeah, how you doing, buddy?
Oh, no. By the way, I've never met this person, Miso, and she's agreeing that I'm Muslim.
No.
Listen. The view that it was Angel Gabriel, right, is from Hadith tradition or from Sunnah tradition. You cannot define that.
That is not true.
Exclusively.
He's already
that is not true.
That's
because you know what's funny? What is that? What's the surah that? What's the ayah that comes before this one?
Let's go to it.
All right, let's go to it. And what's the ayah that comes after this one? We know it's the angel Gabriel. It can't be any other angel.
Does it say Jibreel?
Because it's meant. So you're telling me that it's not mentioned previously before this ayah or afterwards?
I'm saying that you have to find a specific reference that says it was angel Jibreel alayhi salam. Otherwise, you have no knowledge of who it was. You know, there's a fallacy. I forgot the name of it, but it's saying basically like, who else was it? Like if it wasn't A, then it's definitively B. I don't know what the name of it is. But you're committing that fallacy.
I'll get it for you right now. It's no problem.
Sure, take your time.
Well, I don't think he's committing it, though. It's not.
Yeah, I'm not committing it.
You definitely are, because what you're saying is it's definitively Angel Jibreel alayhi salam, right? Now, there's nothing illogical about saying this is Israfil. There's nothing that would violate Quran or logic. But according to you, it's definitively Jibreel.
Give me 1 second.
Sure, take your time.
Yeah, that would be a false dichotomy.
Okay.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, that's the false dichotomy. That's the word.
Well, here's the problem. He wasn't expecting me to pull up any other ayahs that mention the angel Gabriel. I will give you this for reference. And then I'll ask you if this comes before or after.
This is in Baqarah.
Okay, good.
This is a completely different chapter of the Quran.
They all build on upon each
but there's other verses of the Quran.
Now he's rejecting this because it mentions the angel.
No,
Gabriel.
I'm not rejecting.
You clearly said. You said, how do you know?
No, that doesn't make any sense.
And I told you.
Hold on
you said, how do you know if it's the angel Gabriel? And I said, in order to understand the Quran, you must read it in its entirety, right? If the angel Gabriel is mentioned in other ayahs, then this can be proof. This can allow us. Let me finish. No, not because he's caught.
No, I'm not caught.
No, you're trying to straw man now. Calm down.
No.
Look, I know the games you're playing. I've been through this.
No, this is a dumb argument.
You hold on.
Let me finish. Let me finish.
Go ahead, Joe.
He's been caught. I already know the games that you playing. You didn't expect me to go through the Quran and search for any other references to the angel Gabriel being the one that reveal these revelations to Prophet Muhammad. You expected me to say, well, it doesn't exist, but it does, unfortunately for you. And I have multiple surahs here of God in the Quran referencing the angel Gabriel and saying directly that he was the one that revealed these revelations to Prophet Muhammad. I just linked to you one from Surah Al-Baqarah. We already agreed that Arabic builds upon each other. We already agreed that surahs build upon each other. We already agreed that ayahs build upon each other. And you're rejecting that claim and saying, well, how do you know it's true? You're using a completely different... Ayahs do build upon each other. In an Arabic language, it does build upon each other.
Build on each other.
Why? If you need to understand who, if you want to find the answer to who revealed these revelations to Prophet Muhammad, read the Quran, finish reading it. Read the rest of the ayahs, right? Read the previous ayahs.
Listen. What you're doing is what I was previously reciting was chapter 54 of the Quran, right? The 54th chapter. Now you've gone back, which is fine, by the way, I don't mind doing this, but you've gone back to the second chapter of the Quran. So the context is not there. So what you're doing is you're taking something way out of left field and you're saying, well, here we go. Now this concept of building upon each other, I agree with that in principle, because there's a principle called tafsir Quran bil Quran. I agree with that. But what you're doing though is you're like mixing and matching verses that are completely in left field. So that's like saying like, okay, well, here's a verse that talks about, for example, cleanliness, and there's another verse that talks about something like impurity.
I have a question for you. Does this surah that I linked to, does it come before or after the surah that you're talking about?
Before, definitely before.
Okay. So why does it come before?
Actually, no.
It comes before because it wants to give you an idea of who the angel Gabriel is.
I retract that comment. Hold on. I retract that comment.
No, he retracts it. No, it's too late. You fell in the trap. It's too late. Let me.
No. This needs to be clarified. Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. No. Hold on a second. Hold on, Pride. Let me ask you a question. When was Baqarah revealed?
Go ahead.
When was Baqarah revealed? Do you know?
When? No, I don't know. I'll let you
answer. Okay, Baqarah was revealed when the Muslims were in Mecca. Or Medina, Medina. When was generally Surah Najm and shorter chapters of the Quran tend to be from the Medinan period, Meccan period. So it was a Meccan Quran, and we know that because the verses are short and to the point. So if you were in Mecca, right, and you didn't have Baqarah at the time, how would you know that this is referencing Angel Jibreel alayhi salam?
That's off point. We're talking about the Quran strictly. We're talking about we're strictly talking about the Quran right here. You're talking about things that are off point. That's not off point. We're talking about history. We're not talking about the individuals that existed.
I got you on the run. See, you're dodging.
No. Let me finish. I let you finish. Let me finish.
Sorry. Go ahead.
What you're saying is irrelevant to what we're talking about. We're strictly addressing this holy book, the Quran, and you're bringing up a point that has nothing to do with this book. What you're trying to tell me is, how can someone that's reading the Quran know that it's the angel Gabriel that is the one that revealed these revelations to Prophet Muhammad? And I clearly, let me finish. And I clearly told you, well, the angel Gabriel is mentioned fairly early in the Quran, and any individual reading the Quran will understand that he is the one that revealed these revelations, because he's mentioned very early in the beginning, right? And you get an understanding of who he is, and once you get to the ayah that we were referencing previously, you already know he's the one that revealed these revelations because you've read it previously. What you're talking about, first of all, is not historically proven. You don't even know when Surah An-Najm was published. If it was published before or after, you didn't even provide me with accurate dates. Can you give me the sources here? I want to get sources because
what source could I provide?
Because you're making empty claims here. You're saying, well, this was published after and before. Where's your historic sources?
Well, give me your scholarly articles. If I was to give you historic, first off, number one, my argument is this, is that first off, Surah Najm was a Meccan Quran. That's definitive. I can give you a source on that if you're interested. But even if I was to give you a source, you would still reject it because you don't go by external sources.
No, I wouldn't.
Here's the thing. When the verse was revealed...
I'll accept it. Go ahead.
Okay, sure. I'll give you one. It's a Shia website, interestingly enough. But
well, historic opinions. Wade.
Copy paste. 1 second. Copy paste. Okay. Enter. So here's the point. The verse was revealed in stages, right? That was
the same one I was looking at, by the way.
This is the verse. The Quran is revealed in stages. This part is definitively known, and it's in the Quran, right? When it nazala min al-Quran, I forgot the verse, but it basically is revealed in stages. I'm sure you agree with that. Now, if Baqarah was revealed in Medina, which it was, that part, if you don't agree with that, then you need to read some more tafsir. But Baqarah was revealed, or history rather, Baqarah was revealed in Medina. If you're in Makkah and the only Quran you have is Surah Najm, right, which is the 54th chapter, then you can't reference Baqarah because it didn't exist at the time. So what you're doing is you're citing an evidence that didn't even exist at that time to prove your point, which doesn't even make sense.
Why do we care about that time? We're in this time. We're referencing the Quran.
Because at that time, you're essentially saying that the meaning of the Quran would have changed with time. That's essentially what you're saying.
I never said that. I said
that's an implication of your argument.
I said we're currently in this moment of time.
Of your argument, though.
You're going completely off topic. What you're saying is irrelevant to this entire argument.
Your argument doesn't.
It doesn't even support your claims. We're talking about.
Argument doesn't make sense.
We're talking about your first argument. See, and you're not intellectually honest. I'll tell you why. Your first argument was, how is someone reading the Quran going, and everyone heard this. You can't deny this. I'm so happy there's a lot of people in here. Your first argument was, well, how is someone that's currently reading the Quran going to know that the angel Gabriel? That's what you said. Let me finish.
No, I didn't say currently.
Everyone in here can back me up on
this. Did I say currently reading Quran? Did I say that to anybody?
He was. We were. And when I brought Surah Al-Baqarah, you freaked out. You freaked out, and then that's when you brought in the history.
That's a point against you. That's not supporting your argument.
And that's when you brought in the history.
No. You're adding stuff. You're strawmanning my argument. I never said.
What year was Surah Al-Najm produced?
Makkah.
What year? By the way, what do you mean Makkah? What year? What year?
I don't know offhand what year.
Okay. Well, what year was Surah Al-Baqarah produced?
In Medina.
What year?
I don't know.
Location doesn't equate to year.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Definitively, it does.
No, it does not.
Yes, it definitely
Location does not equate to. If you're a historian, if you want to debate me like a historian, debate me like one.
First came the Meccan part. Yes.
Location does not equate.
No. It does in this case because the Muslims were initially.
It still doesn't equate.
Hold on, Jovan, 1 second. Let me explain.
You have to give me dates. If you're saying that it came before and after, I have to have dates.
Hold on. The Muslims were originally in a city called Medina, as you know, or Makkah.
No, I know what you're saying.
Then they migrated over.
Was only there during this amount of time.
Hold on. The Muslims were originally in a city called Makkah, right? And then they migrated to a city called Medina. So unless you think history goes backwards, right? And I don't know if you do or not, but if time goes backwards, I guess there's other particles that do. But the Muslims that were if there was a Meccan Quran, it has to be before Medinan Quran. That's definitive, unless you think time goes backwards. So Najm was in Makkah. Now, while they were in Makkah, if they read this chapter of the Quran, what would they think of it?
What was the first surah that was revealed?
Iqra bismi rabbika alladhi khalaq, Surah Alaq.
Okay.
That's nonsensical words.
Right. But listen, I don't know why you brought that up. Listen, if the Muslims were only in Makkah, let's suppose you died in Makkah, which many people did, and you never got to Medina, what would you think Surah Najm means?
Repeat your question. Sorry,
If you died in Makkah and you never made it to Medina, you never lived that long, what would you say that Surah Najm means?
So Surah Al-Najm was produced. What order was it produced in? What is the order?
I don't understand why you can't answer the question.
Okay,
I'm asking you
because I'm getting to it. No, so you're telling me how many surahs were produced before Surah Al-Najm? Can you just tell me that?
I don't know offhand.
Okay, I'm gonna give you a link here.
Sure.
All right. You see, and here's the problem with your arguments, right? You make you spread misinformation because once again you're intellectually dishonest. That's how you argue. You change your arguments back and forth. You hop back and forth. You lose an argument, you go to the next one, and then you refuse to admit that you changed your words. I'm used to that. Yeah, I'm used to people like you. I want you to tell. I'm going to ask you another simple question. Was the angel Gabriel not mentioned at all in any of those surahs before Surah Al-Najm? Yes or no question?
Oh, I don't know the answer to that.
Well, if you don't know the answer to that, what? Okay.
But no.
Okay, so if you don't know the answer to that, how is your argument even valid?
Pride. Let me say something to you, okay? I think you're intellectually dishonest, and I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why you're intellectually dishonest.
Go ahead.
Because when I pin you on an argument, you basically repeat and go into repeat mode, and you keep on repeating your argument again and again and again, which is what you did last night. When I pin you on another argument,
now that's what you're good at. You never because you've been caught. You see, now he changes words because he's been caught.
You went on a tangent. You didn't catch me. You didn't even respond to my argument. When I
You
caught
have
you,
no argument. You don't even know how many
excuse me, hold on 1 second. When I caught you in the argument,
Yeah,
you just repeated, you went in on a tangent. You never responded to this.
Everyone in here heard you. You're a liar.
Yeah, you kept bouncing between them.
Yeah, he does bounce back.
Hold on,
He
hold on.
changes his arguments very
really,
quickly.
really quickly. I just
No, I can. Hold on.
She hasn't spoken yet. She hasn't
Let me say
spoken
something. The argument I made was that how can you argue that Surah Najm refers to the angel Gabriel, right? You said, well, there's other Quran, and you posted from Baqarah, right? Would you agree to that?
Yes, I did.
Okay, you did, right? Okay, hold on. Now, my response to that, wait, Miso, one second, between me and him. So what I said was, that is not a valid source of that. You cannot use that argument. And you said, well, why can't you? And I said, because Baqarah came when? In the Medinan period. Now, you posted a link just now, right? Well, let's go to the link. 1 second.
I don't follow.
Go ahead and go to the link.
Okay.
He didn't even go to the link yet.
Right.
No,
I already did go to the link. That was actually what I said. The link is actually against you. Because Baqarah comes in when? It comes in on verse number 87.
That's irrelevant.
Yeah, it's very relevant. It's extremely relevant.
And secondly, I asked you, even if hold on. Is the angel Gabriel, okay, I asked you a very direct question that you avoided.
It's extremely
Answer this question. Is the angel Gabriel mentioned in any of the previous surahs?
Fake Muslim.
You never answer my question.
Look at me smash. He's the fake Muslim. I'm winning this. Look how he's struggling.
I didn't know.
The issue is that
your meta is irrelevant.
Let her talk.
You're being intellectually.
Let her talk.
Miso, 5 seconds. Stay out of it. And I'll stay out of it for 5 seconds, okay?
Stay out of this.
Hold on, just like 5 seconds, Naxi.
Pride, the reason why
literally just 5 seconds. I don't understand why you won't let
Hold on. I want to, because it's between me and him right now.
Yeah, but I don't understand why you won't let me talk.
Let her talk.
That's
okay.
5 seconds.
Okay, fine. Go ahead.
It's
Go
okay.
ahead.
You're smashing. There's no need to get worked up. You're smashing. It's okay. Go ahead.
He's not smashing anything. Go ahead.
You said earlier that you think he's the one being intellectually dishonest, and then when he said something about you changing the goalpost and whatnot, in like 5 minutes, you changed the argument. It was scripture, then it went to history, and now it's back at scripture. So it really does seem like you're moving the goalpost.
So I'll explain to you why that's not intellectually dishonest, nor is that changing the goalpost. Because hold on.
No, he's gonna fuck.
Wait. Pride. What you're doing is you're throwing a lot of meta, and you're saying you're repeating intellectually dishonest, right? Miso, from your understanding, what he's doing is he's changing, or I'm changing the goalpost. What I'm doing is when he brings up another argument, I say your argument is irrelevant because of these factors. Now, unless you think bringing more facts on the table is intellectually dishonest, I don't know how you define intellectually dishonest.
You're intellectually dishonest is when your first argument was that there's no ayahs before Surah Al-Najm that mentioned Gabriel, and then when I mentioned Surah Al-Baqarah, you fucking panicked. You started fucking getting angry.
The argument, the evidence that you gave me,
and then that's when you change the goalpost. You go to fucking history. And you know what's funny? Hold up. Let me end this because you're getting rather boring. Let me finish this. Let me finish my argument. Let me finish my argument. Let me finish my argument.
I haven't
getting
finished
rather boring. Let me finish it.
Pride, the reason why your argument
let me finish my argument.
No, Pride, be quiet.
I want to finish it first.
I want to finish my argument. I want to finish my argument, Pride.
No, because you have no argument. Let me finish
the reason why your argument is invalid. See, he keeps on repeating because he doesn't want to get wrecked.
No. It's because I have no interest in talking to someone like that. So let me finish this.
The reason why your argument is invalid is this.
Let me finish this.
Because
I know what you're doing. You're panicking. You don't want me to say what I'm going to say. You already know what I'm going to say, right?
Why his argument is invalid.
Look at him. He's struggling.
The link he pasted. Everyone go to the link he pasted. Everyone go to that link. Let me paste it.
Yeah, go to that link.
Control
go to it.
Okay. Everyone go to that link. The reason why his argument is invalid is because Surah Najm, right? Which means the stars literally, is a verse that was revealed in Mecca, right? And it has the
and it says Meccan. It says Meccan.
Right. Listen. I'm talking. Listen.
Go ahead.
Now, the Meccan Quran was revealed before Madani Quran. Now, as everyone knows, Quran was a gradual revelation. It wasn't just like one day. It was over a period of time. So it wasn't like the Bible where it was like one day, here's the books. Now, the Baqarah was revealed, which is the longest chapter of the Quran, was revealed in Medina. If you do a search, type in Baqara.
Okay. Are you done? Because I'm getting rather bored. Are you done?
Yeah, you are getting bored.
Can I just make my argument?
Listen for 2 fucking seconds.
Can I just make my argument?
Baqarah was revealed
because his argument has no basis. I just want to.
Baqarah was revealed in Medina. Excuse me, guys. Hold on. Baqarah was revealed in Medina. When it was revealed in Medina, which was after Mecca.
He already knows what I'm going to do, so he's just extending the time.
When Surah Najm was revealed, that wouldn't have even been applicable. That verse didn't even exist. So for you to cite a source as proof makes no sense. Now, Pride, before you speak,
look at this.
Before you speak,
keep struggling. Keep extending the time. You don't want to fucking say it.
I'm gonna step away for 2 minutes.
Oh yeah, go step away. Now he's gonna go step away. No, before you step away, let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question.
I'll answer your question.
Look at him. This intellectually dishonest fucker. Look at him. He's running.
I don't know. It's pretty solid.
Oh, he's pretty solid. Before you run away.
Wait. No. I'm not running.
Before you run away, hold up. I know you have a boiled egg. You're a liar. You're intellectually dishonest.
Listen, Pride will throw at meta, but listen.
Okay, let me talk. Let me do my argument. You're getting boring. You're getting boring. No, I'm gonna finish. You've been talking for a long time. First of all, I asked you a direct question. I said, was the angel Gabriel mentioned before Surah An-Najm? There was a total of 22 ayahs before Surah An-Najm, and I asked you a very direct question. I muted you because you keep yelling.
You're not allowed to mute in the server.
He doesn't want to let me finish this. I'm getting rather bored.
You're not allowed to local mute in this server. How many
then
times
let me finish this.
He's not talking anymore. It's fine. He's gone.
Okay. He's not talking anymore. He's not muted. He's not muted.
Unmute him now.
He's unmuted. Let me finish this. He's getting rather boring. I have no interest in continuing this. I asked him a direct question. There was a total of 22 ayahs posted before that were published before Surah An-Najm. I asked him a very direct question, and this is why he was struggling. This is why he ran away right now, because he knew I was going to get to this, right? Because he's intellectually dishonest. I asked him, was the Gabriel angel, the angel Gabriel, mentioned before Surah An-Najm in those 22 ayahs? And he kept avoiding the question. He kept avoiding the question because he didn't know whether the angel was mentioned or not. He was mentioned before Surah An-Najm. You see, this is the problem. This is why this person is intellectually dishonest. You sit here and you listen to this person spreading misinformation. His entire argument was built on, well, the angel Gabriel was never mentioned.
No, but he's saying chronologically,
he was mentioned. The Gabriel angel was mentioned before Surah An-Najm.
No, but
that's the problem. See, his argument is over. There's no more argument. I won.
No, chronologically, he was mentioned afterwards.
That is not true. That is not true.
That's what he was saying, though. He was saying that.
And I just proved him wrong. There's 22 ayahs, and in one of them,
the point is that the point, right, that was made by whoever just spoke, that I don't recognize his voice, is not that he's right or wrong. It's that he actually responded to what you said.
He never answered.
When you had stated earlier that he hadn't responded, right? He never responded. That was untrue.
That is not true. So can I ask you a question then?
The guy literally, his point, right, was not that you're wrong. His point, right, was that he did, that Farhan did respond to it.
Did he say yes or no when I asked him, was the angel Gabriel mentioned in any of the 22 ayahs that were published before Surah An-Najm? Just say yes or no.
I think he had agreed to that, but he
did not. You're a liar. He did not. Nobody heard him say yes or no.
I think so. At least he let on.
Yeah, you think so. Well, you're not sure. He didn't say anything.
Well, what I'm saying is the point that he contested was whether or not that
he didn't contest anything. He kept yelling into his mic about nonsense. That's what he did.
All right.
Welcome back. See, that's the problem with people like you. You're not interested in the truth. You want to listen to this guy babble on and not avoid answering questions. Look, he's back. Let me ask you the question that you kept avoiding for 10 minutes and yelling into your mic about nonsense.
Go ahead.
Was the angel Gabriel mentioned in any of the 22 ayahs before Surah An-Najm? Yes or no?
I don't know.
Okay, you don't know. So your argument is based on nothing. You're basing your argument on something that you don't know. This is the basics of your fucking argument. Spreading misinformation. Your argument was that the angel Gabriel was not mentioned before Surah An-Najm. And then I ask you, in those 22 ayahs, was he mentioned, yes or no? And you say, I don't know? Are you kidding me? You're a disgrace to the Muslim community. You're the biggest liar I've ever debated.
That's an ad hominem.
You make up bullshit. And when I catch you in every lie, you run away. That's what you do. You run away and then you yell over me when I'm about to fucking destroy you. I destroyed you on the first argument. You changed the goalpost. I destroyed you on the second goalpost, and now you changed it to this one. And when I ask you a simple question, was the angel Gabriel mentioned in any of the 22 previous ayahs, and you tell me I don't know? Look at this fucking dishonesty. Dude,
I don't see how that's dishonest to say I don't know.
Please don't ever do this again. You give Muslims a bad name. You're a liar.
What you're essentially doing
is lie in the name of the Quran.
You're throwing out as much meta as you possibly can. You're repeating yourself again and again, but you never responded to my argument.
You know, and this is what upsets me. It's people like him who are
He never
not
responded
honest,
to my argument.
Responded to every single
Yeah, that's not
argument.
a response to what he just fucking asked.
What was his argument?
Look, he literally just said it. Do you have him
What
muted
was it?
again? Do we have to fucking like ban you or something to get this through your fucking head?
Stop kissing his ass. What was his argument?
No,
Why
him
would
and I argue all
what
the time.
reason
He's
do I have
definitely
to
not
kiss?
white-knighting for me.
What do you think I have to kiss his ass? I think Farhan is a retard, but I think you're an even bigger retard.
Yeah, sure. You contributed nothing to this debate. So
look, I just asked you what he fucking said. You're an idiot.
He has no argument. I debunked all three
You're just
goalposts.
back to meta again.
If
Look,
he was
dude,
hold
can
on,
you
hold
just
on.
argue the point?
If he
You're
was
just back to the
making
meta.
if he was making the argument that Gabriel wasn't mentioned before, and now suddenly he's saying he doesn't know, isn't that a really big deal?
No, Miso,
that's not a big deal. So he's making lies,
Miso,
and he's saying it's not a big deal.
Miso, if he was to say something like exclusively Angel Gabriel gives revelation of the Quran, then he had a point, right? But that's not what he did. He just said, "Do you know?" And then when
Miso, can I ask you a question?
Use that somehow I don't know is an argument. That's literally an argument from ignorance.
Miso, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
So the first argument was he brought up Surah An-Najm, and then we were talking strictly from the Quran, and he said, "Well, the angel Gabriel is how." And then he asked me, "How do you know that this is the angel Gabriel?" And I said, "Well, because the angel Gabriel is mentioned throughout the Quran previously, before that surah, before the ayah, and afterwards as well, multiple times." And he says, "Well, no, you're a liar. That's not true."
Well,
and then I bring, let me finish. And then I bring Surah Al-Baqarah. And then I bring Surah Al-Baqarah.
I would never have said that.
And then I bring Surah Al-Baqarah and I ask him, where's Surah Al-Baqarah in the Quran? And he's like, he struggles at first because he didn't know. And then he says, well, it's in the
you're back to how he's struggling. It's just
let me finish. Don't talk over me.
Meta. No, I'm absolutely going to interrupt you on that.
Let me finish because you don't want me to expose him.
You're just adding in 90% meta.
You don't want me to expose him.
Totally devoid of content.
Yeah, you don't want me to expose him. That's okay.
You keep calling him a fake Muslim. Isn't it? It's a really big deal if you call like a fellow Muslim not a Muslim. Do you have like?
Yeah, but he said he's not Muslim to me.
Yeah, it's also a big deal to have an argument based on ignorance.
Yeah, and I'm not making an argument based on ignorance. You are.
Yeah, I am.
So listen. Here's why his argument that Baqarah is in the beginning is a good argument. Baqarah is definitely the beginning of Quran. That's true, right? Undeniably, it's the second chapter of the Quran. I would never deny that. But Baqarah did not come about until Surah Medina, or in the the Medinan period, which is the second period of Islam, because there were two. There was one where they were weak and they were oppressed for 13 years, and there was a second period where they had strength and a military and like a government, which was the Medinan period, and that was for 10 years. That he's basically using an argument from saying that I'm going to quote Baqarah for you to explain a verse from the previous part.
Hey,
we were talking strictly.
You know what that would be like? I'll give you an example.
Clarify. Go ahead.
I'll give you a Christian argument.
I don't want to clarify. I'm asking you to clarify.
Can I ask say one thing? Are there any Christians in the room? Any Christians here?
Yeah, kind of ish. I don't know.
Okay, let me ask you a question. Would you clarify? Would you explain a verse in the Old Testament? Maybe Christians are more like they don't have that division. But would you explain like a verse in Genesis according to like a verse from Revelation?
It'll make people forget.
Yeah, of course, because
Christians are a little different. This might not apply.
We consider it foreshadowing, so there's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. Yeah, so that's not a very clean analogy.
That'll really help you out changing the topic.
Yeah, no, that's not a very clean analogy. I can't do that.
No, it's not. But like, here's the question.
His analogies are analogies.
What I don't understand is so the point that's being contested is whether or not that is the angel Gabriel. Can you have to clarify that? But why that his name is mentioned? Does it mean that particular thing that you had initially put up was referencing him? I mean, you said just because his name was brought up earlier, but there was probably several names that are brought up earlier, but not in direct reference to that one particular quote. I'm not seeing the connection between that. Like.
Can I explain it to you, Kill? That's what I was actually in the process of doing before his boyfriend interrupted me. I was in the process of explaining it, making it clear for everyone, because he likes to distract people. So he was referencing a very specific line from an ayah or a surah, and we were talking about it, and he said, "Well, how do you know that this specific line or sentence is referencing the angel Gabriel? Because it doesn't say angel Gabriel by name, right? It just says the actual ayah said something like an angel came and revealed the revelations to Prophet Muhammad." He was like, it could have been any angel. And then I responded back with, well, and he asked me, how do you know it's Angel Gabriel? I responded back with, well, if you read the Quran from the beginning, Surah Al-Baqarah, which is a surah that comes way before that surah that we were talking about in the beginning, references the Angel Gabriel specifically. And then that's when he struggles, right? Because
do you see how there's not a solid connection there that you're making? Because the Angel Gabriel was referenced earlier. I'm sure there's other names that were referenced to or brought up. I mean, I need to know what the actual connection.
No, he was referenced specifically in Surah Al-Baqarah that he was the one that revealed the revelations to Prophet Muhammad.
Then what's that? Like, if you just put that quote there, then this whole thing would be resolved then.
Yeah, the whole thing is resolved. There's no argument here.
He did post.
Yeah. And by the way, I posted the thing from Surah Al-Baqarah. So imagine you're reading a book, right? And in the book, early on in the book, they define a word. Let's say the word is lickalicious, and they define what the word lickalicious means very early on in the book. And the word is used again later on in the book, right? This is the argument here. The Angel Gabriel, it's clear that he was the one that revealed the revelations according to a surah very early on in the Quran, in the beginning of it, saying that yes, he is the one that revealed the revelations. And when I defeated him on that argument, he moved to the argument of history. He was like, well,
so you didn't defeat
argument type of thing, because I'm still trying to understand. So that particular line that was brought up initially, right? The one about elevation to right? Is that, can you what's that? I don't want to look it up.
Yeah, Kills, I can explain
we have
to you.
Everything posted. If you
Kills,
scroll
I can
back
explain because you're from a Christian background, so this might appeal to you. Like when the Jews were, for example, like in Israel or basically.
No, I totally understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, they didn't have the sources, right?
Between the two things. So like there's the particular line, and he's saying that it's referenced.
So what he's saying is that at some point, and I'm just going to clarify, you understand this because you're from a Christian background, but for everyone else in the room, it would not make any sense for someone to have just Surah Najm, which by the way was a possibility that someone could literally just have that one chapter, read that one chapter, and then be like, oh, this is referencing Baqarah from purely the Quran. That wouldn't make any sense.
That's what
you see, yeah. And it actually does make sense, because then that's when I brought the chronological order of the surahs according to history,
but
right?
Let
me finish.
I have to go. I just want to say that I get that he comes off as a bit overzealous, but you have to understand that he's a Qur'ani, and that's like an extreme minority in Islam. So he's like up against.
I know you.
No, but let me finish. Let me finish my argument. And by the way, Gabriel was mentioned before Surah Al-Nam in the. Beforehand, and it was clear that he was the one that revealed the revelations. So I defeated him on the Quran argument and in the history argument, because then you ask him, well, I asked him how many surahs came before Surah An-Najm. He said, well, I don't know. So if you don't know, how are you making the argument that according to history, people at that time, there is no way for them to have known that it was the Angel Gabriel according to Surah An-Najm being published in Mecca? Even though there was 22 surahs previously published before, right?
Question for you, Silent. Do you explain can you explain to me how he defeated me in what he just said?
No, what he literally says after every single statement he makes is that he then defeated you.
Right, that's my whole point. He's just repeating, I defeated you.
Ask your boyfriend whether you won or not. He'll give you a
I don't know. It's kind of like 3 against 1 on this one. I'm seeing it. I mean, I think there's a valid there's an equivocation.
I brought up valid points. I brought up valid sources. Yeah,
sure. But what I'm saying is, I think there's an equivocation on chronological, because there's by our time, right, and then by order of the book, and I think that's the difference. I think that it's probably pretty important to take note of the chronology according to the human timeline.
He's the one that brought up.
He's the one that brought up the chronological order, and he was using that as an argument to say, well, the Angel Gabriel was never mentioned before this specific surah that we were referencing in the beginning.
I didn't say that.
Well, no, I think you did.
Did he not say that?
I did not say that.
No, he's changing his face. He's laughing while saying. How do you guys take this
does anyone have a recording of this conversation? I know there's always people recording this.
No, I don't know.
Does anybody have a recording of this? Because I want you to find it.
Do you guys
listen. I don't think I've seen you here before, but a lot of people often they record these rooms, right? It's a common thing, and they put them on YouTube. Here's what I want: if anyone's recording, hypothetically, find the spot where I said only
Nobody's in here is recording right now.
Okay, well,
no one's going to record you.
But listen, if somebody is hypothetically, if somebody is recording,
I've got 40 minutes.
Okay, if somebody is, find the spot where I said only, and if I said that, then I concede the entire argument. If I don't, then he has to concede the entire argument.
You clearly said in front of everyone that the angel Gabriel didn't exist before Surah An-Najm, and then that's what you said word for word. I'm not even putting words.
He said I think if I remember correctly, it was like one of the words that I don't know started with like some sort of B or something like. Not the B.
No, that's what he said. I'm not stupid. I heard what he said.
That hadn't.
He's not even denying it. He's not even denying it right. He knows that's what he said.
That particular. He wasn't mentioning that for.
I should have been recording him yesterday last night when he admitted to being a liar. He literally admitted to being a liar and accepted defeat last night and left.
Just really quickly, just so everyone knows for the Reddit, right? They say.
Wait, did you record last night? Did anybody record it?
I hope so.
I really fucking hope so. Can you play the last part where he says, "You were right, and I'm sorry. I did lie about that."
I didn't. No, I never said that.
He was like, "I admit defeat to your first argument."
There's two parts of argument.
What's your second argument?
There's two parts of an argument, right? They say there's two parts of an argument. There's one that's making logical arguments, and then there's two that's just like throwing out like rhetoric, right?
My first argument last night was that you're a liar.
Hold on. Wait. I'm making a separate topic. Yeah. There's two parts of arguments. There's throwing out an argument, like a logical argument that you construct with facts, blah, blah, blah. And then there's another part which is throwing out like,
I'm not interested
rhetoric, right? Hold on. What Pride has done is he's called me dishonest, a liar. I've changed my views, etc., etc.
That's what you do.
Throughout this conversation, right? Now, all that I've done is I've presented more facts on the table. So he says something, I present another fact that negates what he says, and he considers that to be a lie. And then he says you're being dishonest, you're changing your argument, etc., etc. I've done none of the above. I've consistently said, my view is this, is that the principle that understanding the Quran without external sources is an impossible thing. You can't do that. And I'm challenging him on that. And that's why he ran away when I came to the dictionary argument, and he ran away when I came to the historical argument. And he's falsely, and the real thing is this, and don't let him get away with this, guys. Don't let him get away with this. He's equivocating between location in the Quran and the revelation timeline. He's equivocating, and that's why go to the link he sent.
Revelation timeline. That's good.
Yeah, the revelation timeline. He's equivocating on that. Go to the link he sent, and that's a proof against him. Get wrecked.
That's fine. I mean, in the order they were revealed to the Prophet, and even you would agree with this because the Sahaba are his friends, right? And those are the people closest to him that know when the revelations took place. I'm not wrecked.
According to who? How can you cite Sahaba?
Now he denies the fucking hadith for his.
No. I accept hadith.
This guy will fucking sell his own mother for his own convenience. Just
listen. How can you accept hadith? I can accept it, right? But you can't, though. I acknowledge what Sahaba means, but you can't.
Well, I'm done here. I won. I mean, there's no reason for me to even continue.
No,
I clearly won this.
Stop it.
I have no interest in continuing this. At this point, it's gotten to the point to where you're saying I said this and I'm saying that you said this.
Yeah.
It doesn't even matter at this point. I've proved you wrong. I can move on.
Are there any neutral people here? I mean, I know like I'm not particularly liked here, but are there any neutral people here?
I can see why you're not particularly liked. You change your fucking.
Are there any people here that honestly think that what Pride did was a victory?
No, not really.
I don't think Pride has ever won a conversation.
The two boyfriends that were supporting you then.
Silent doesn't like me at all.
Yeah.
I have never met Killsmart.